Okay, let's go again. So Anne-Maria was talking about all her fears have become bigger and it's very difficult to face with, and she has this fear of death. This is another one of these issues. Your estrogen can get really low. As I've explained before, estrogen is your kind of happy hormone, if you like. It keeps our mood up. When our estrogen falls, and we also lose the ability to control our emotions, the ancient parts of our brain, if you like, the reptilian brain, comes to the fore. And that's just basically looking at survival. So you're going to have this fearfulness practically the whole time. You're going to get the worry. You end up having these plays and scenarios in your head where you just imagine the worst that's going to happen to your family. You worry about what's going to happen in the world and what's going to happen to everything. And this can go on, and it can get to the point where you really find it difficult to cope with life in general. If these fears get really bad, if these are taking over your life, please just check with your doctor. Otherwise, again, if you're not on any prescribed medication, you can look at hypericum just to help to lift your mood. And we've also got mood essence, another one of the lovely flower essences that can help to boost your mood. And again, these are ones when you get into this fearful situation, you can just put a couple of drops straight onto the tongue. Again, if you can talk to somebody, and I know one of the things we get is a lot of women find it difficult to talk about the fact that they're in the menopause. There's still this horrible stigma and embarrassment. You know, you might not even want to talk to your friends about this. But if you can maybe, I say to women, if you know one or two women going through the menopause, set up your own little self-help and support group. It can make such a difference just knowing that you've got someone else to talk to or to send a message to, just to say, help, I need a little bit of encouragement here. This is a horrible one, but these feelings, and this is really important that I want you all to take away with today, these fears, these emotional issues, loss of confidence, irritability, not wanting to socialize with everybody, these are real. This is not something that's going on in your head. You're not going mad. There's a real physical reason why you're feeling like this. So just be aware of that. And that in itself, when you realize that you're not alone here, and there are many, many, many more women, and we can see already just from the questions that have come in today, how many women are feeling the same thing. So you're not alone here. But if you can get somebody to talk to, that can make a huge amount of difference. We've got Deborah here. She said she's really struggling emotionally. She feels she can't cope with simple things. She's taking maca, magnesium and sage. Again, we can start to question our ability to cope. And, you know, before the menopause, so many of us are these wonder women. We can multitask, we can do 10 different things at once. We can organize the whole family, we can organize work. And hey ho, at the end of the day, we can still have time to do all sorts of other things. When we start going through the menopause, the physical part of it will drain us of energy, and the falling estrogen will affect our mood. And things that we used to be able to do with our eyes shut or at the drop of the hat suddenly become more difficult. If you are finding this is the case, then again, this is the point where you need to prioritize. I know it's difficult because there will be those of you out there who are saying, I'm working, I'm looking after family, I'm maybe looking after parents, or I'm looking after grandchildren. Where do I prioritize here? This again is where you ask for help, maybe other family members, or just to say, look, I can't do all this, I'm going to have to let something go. It's hard for us because if we start to say, I can't cope, I can't manage everything, then it's a sign of weakness. And it isn't really, because the menopause is taking everything out of you. And for a lot of women, if you continue with this battering of going on and trying to do everything, then you can get so fatigued you won't be able to cope with anything at all with this. So for this one where you really feel you can't cope, Again, you're taking the magnesium, you're taking maca, which is absolutely great. Sometimes a little bit of acupuncture can help just to get your system revved up again. So this is certainly something that's worth looking into. But prioritizing things, and you know, sometimes when you just get rid of a few things that you don't need to do, the difference it can make and the better you feel just by doing one or two less things during the day. Tiger Thames, hiya. She is asking, is black cohosh dangerous? It's been recommended for her mood swings, anxiety and depression. There was a little bit of a furore a few years ago about black cohosh. They thought that it maybe had some issues causing liver problems. In the UK, the herbal medicines are very, very closely regulated, and you really can't get, unless you're ordering it from abroad, which I really don't advise that you do. If you want to use herbal medicines, then please get them in the UK from reputable sources. Your health food shop is an absolutely great place to start, because these are all well regulated and they are deemed to be safe. So if you go to your local health food and ask for a black cohosh supplement, you'll know that what you get is good quality and will be safe for you to take. The only issue with black cohosh, and there is usually a warning on the products, and it will say that if you have any liver diseases or any problems with your liver, then it's advised not to take. Black cohosh can be great. It can take about a month or so to kick in. It's worth trying. What I would do with this is add in the magnesium as well, maybe 200 milligrams, and that can sometimes just make all that little bit of a difference. It's Antoinette, and she says that she finds that when she hears bad news or thinks of something not so pleasant, she starts to get slightly dizzy and her left arm goes cold and tingly. You've checked everything out, absolutely perfect. Any odd signs that you get during the menopause, please get them checked by your doctor. This bad news one, oh my goodness, there's definitely that. What's happening here? Again, your emotional control has decreased, so that when you start to hear something bad, or you're watching the news or reading the newspapers, your nervous system is triggered much more easily and much more aggressively, and that will just tip you right over into a panic attack. And the tingling, a lot of women find that they get palpitations and they can get the dizziness as well. So this is really common. Again, look at the calming herbs, shore up your nervous system, do the deep breathing. If you start to get a bit panicky, this is a great one to practice every day, whether you need it or not. Is, 30 seconds of slow, deep breathing. It can have a huge positive impact on your nervous system just to calm everything down. We've got Hayley. Yes, she's worrying about everything and it's so helpful. So no, you're absolutely not crazy. A lot of these emotional and mental symptoms, this is why I call it the mental pause sometimes, not the menopause. So these issues, they tend for most women to be phases. So don't sit there thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to be like this for the next 5 or 6 years as I go through the menopause. Very often they are phases and you come out of them. So bear that in mind. It's very rarely that this is something you'll be stuck with forever. But I know, I've experienced a lot of these myself, and I know how horrible they can be when you're stuck right in the middle of them. Penny's asking, do you tell the acupuncturist to balance your hormones? What do you ask? Acupuncture is wonderful because your treatment is done on you as an individual. So normally your first appointment when you go and see an acupuncturist, you will probably be talking for about half an hour. It's great. Complementary therapies are lovely because the practitioners are trained to listen to who you are before they start to decide what treatment that you actually need. Sometimes that's a therapy in itself. How often do we get to talk about ourselves and have somebody listen intently to us? So the practitioner will listen to what you have to say, what your problems are, what your issues are. They'll ask about your general health. They will look at your past health history, because what happened to you health-wise as a child could have quite a big impact on what's happening to you now. So they look at you as a complete individual. If you're getting acupuncture, I usually recommend if you can try and find a practitioner who specialises in women's health. There are so many of them now, and you know, it's something I had when I started the menopause, when I first realised that this is where I was going, and it made a huge difference to how I felt and also how I cope physically. So if you can get this, if you don't mind being stuck with needles, I actually found it very relaxing. I had half an hour lying down doing nothing. It was absolutely wonderful. So Rashmi says, I wake up in the middle of the night, many times due to some fear, panic attack. Yeah, this is another horrible one. Panic attacks and fear during the night are often an indication that you are dehydrated and that your blood sugars are really low. Falling estrogen stops us from getting a good night's sleep, so you're at a much shallower sleep to start with. And if your nervous system suddenly kicks in the middle of the night because you're dehydrated, you will wake up with a ping. You will wake up very, very quickly. Your thoughts will be racing. They will very often be fearful. And you might find that your heart's really going to the 10 to the dozen as well. Things that you need to do here is make sure you're drinking plenty of water during the day. Have a small shot glass of warm water just before you get into bed, and have a good snack before you go to bed as well. Really important to keep your blood sugar stable. And a lot of women find that doing that will give them a better night's sleep. Again, you can look at some of the flower essences to take. We've got a night essence, which can very often help with bad dreams as well. So that's something you could have by your bedside. If you wake up, then you don't even need to put the light on. You can just put a few drops straight onto your tongue just to help you get back off to sleep. So hopefully these tips will help with those nighttime fears. They're horrible. I used to wake up sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you would be in a total panic, not actually realising where you were, and that to all intents and purposes you're actually quite safe. Louise says she feels completely unmotivated and it's starting to affect her job. What should I do? Loss of motivation is a big one. Suddenly all the things that we like to do, our hobbies, our socialising with friends, all of these can just go totally out of the window. You need to look at your lifestyle here, because there's probably fatigue in here as well. So it's not just the fact that you can't be motivated, it's just the fact that you are really so tired that you don't have the energy to do these things. So again, it's about prioritising what you need to do. Maybe get up that little bit earlier in the morning. I know what I find is that if I'm rushed in the morning, that will affect my work during the day. So maybe get up a little bit earlier in the morning and have a much more relaxed build up to going out to work. One of the things we have found here, and I do what we call corporate menopause workshops. So I'll go around businesses doing little lunchtime workshops for the staff that are going through the menopause. And one of the things that is great that I'm finding now is a lot of businesses are realizing that their female staff who are going through the menopause are struggling. And these are women who are valuable, they have got a lot of experience, and these are not members of staff that they want to lose. So if you really find that you're losing motivation and you're finding your job difficult, it's really important to go, if you've got an HR department, and have a chat with them. They might be able to maneuver your hours or do something just to help you to get through it. I know one of the things we did find doing these workshops is that for a lot of women, because their sleep was poor, starting work early in the morning was really so very difficult. So for some women, especially those in bigger businesses, having flexi time made an absolutely huge difference to the way that they can work. If you're really worried about how you're being treated at work, and we do know some people that are being threatened purely because they're not coming up to scratch now, they're making mistakes, there is lots of good information on work practices on the TUC's website. So it's worth looking into their section on the menopause protocol in the working environment. So have a little look at that as well. Spolly is saying when she used to get hot flushes, it felt like a panic attack, and it's very upsetting, especially if you are in the public. Absolutely. And again, very often what's happening here, it's your nervous system is going into a panic mode, and that is triggering the flush. So again, dealing with calming your nervous system down can make it a huge difference. It's also a good idea here to do the little diary and just to see whether you're getting this flush and panic attack at roughly the same time every day, or if it's in the same situation. Do you find that you get a flush and panic attack as you're going through the tills in the supermarket? Do you find that you're getting them when you're having to be assertive because you want to complain about something? So these things, very often it's a particular situation starts to trigger your nervous system, and if you can find out what that is, then that can start to give you that little bit more control, so that you can help with this. Again, if you're out and about, the flower essences are absolutely great, so these are something that you can take. Take some water with you as well. If you feel a flush or a panic attack coming on, just have that little drink of water. I used to find it was really quite strange, because you would be talking to somebody and all of a sudden I would just get this, it was almost like a wave of total embarrassment, and you could feel yourself going red, you could feel yourself kind of stuttering. And I think, oh, this is really bad, especially when you're working with the public. I found that I used to try and devise little sort of strategies to help, and in that situation I would just start to cough, and I would just start to say, sorry, I've got a bit of a tickle in my throat. And doing that coughing and just stepping back allowed me to take a deep breath, and then I could carry on with the conversation. So you can learn little strategies as well if you find that this is becoming a bit of a nuisance when you're working or when you're dealing with the public. Jenny is asking, she's just started taking maca, how useful this can be. Maca is a great one to take for some women going through the menopause. The only thing I would say here is that the powder that you get to mix into smoothies probably isn't strong enough to start with, so you're really looking at maca supplements. Maca is what's called an adaptogen, so what it does is it helps to strengthen your nervous system, and it helps you to cope better. So if you strengthen and stabilize your nervous system, for those of you who were watching earlier on, that's a really important thing. If you stabilize and strengthen your nervous system, then this is less likely to trigger other symptoms. So maca, if you find that you're getting a lot of the anxiety, the panic attacks, that whole scenario, then maca can be a very useful one to have. I would still add in some magnesium as well, because that's needed for absolutely everything, and that's a really lovely combination here. And Penny's asking, how do you cope with migraines due to hormonal fluctuations and stress? Migraines is one of these things that for those of you that were prone to them before the menopause, they can sometimes get worse, and very often it's due to your estrogen dipping very quickly, and they think that because your estrogen dips very quickly, this can have an effect on your blood vessels, which then go into a spasm, and that then triggers this whole migraine episode. So what you can do here, stabilize the nervous system. We know that magnesium is a huge issue in migraines. There's loads of information on how beneficial magnesium is for migraines on Google, and there's a lot of research showing how beneficial it can be. So that can be something you do need to take quite high doses. So you know, this is something you might have to take 200 or 300 milligrams twice a day. Your dehydration can be a factor in the migraines as well. We've also got our super menopause support, if this is appropriate. It's got plant estrogens in it, and this is going to help to balance your estrogen so you're not going to get all these big dips that then have an effect on your blood vessels. So there's a number of strategies here, again, that can help with the migraine situation. And Antoinette is saying, what do you think about having a midday nap, if possible, 30 minutes? This is something you need to find out for yourself. For some women, a power nap and a little shut-eye is absolutely fabulous. It will give you your energy back. It will give you your focus back. For me, if I were to have a midday nap, then I would not get up again. So for me, it just doesn't help at all. But for those of you that can do that, and you have the time to do it and you have the space to do it, and you find that it's really beneficial, absolutely go for it. All I would say is just maybe experiment a bit. If you nap for too long during the day, you might find that that affects your sleep at night. So you want to get a nice balance here. 20 minutes, some people might find a 15-minute nap is all they need. If you don't particularly want to nap, then even doing a 15-minute meditation, just sit back, shut your eyes, get some lovely music on, do some slow, deep breathing. For some women, that can be just as powerful as having a good nap. Naisha's wanting to know the name of the drops that you can put in your tongue in the middle of the night. It's called night essence. We do a whole range of flower essences, and this is the night essence. So this is a lovely one to have by your bedside and to pop straight onto the tongue if you happen to wake up and down in the middle of the night. We're also getting a few of the physical questions, physical symptoms coming in now. So Agatha is asking, she's feeling very fatigued in the morning. What can she do to have more energy? Fatigue is a huge one in the menopause. It will affect everything. If you are fatigued, your nervous system is going to be more jumpy, you're going to have less sleep, it can affect your joints, it can affect your pain perception, it will affect your motivation, and it's a huge one. You're fatigued because of all the changes that are going on. And again, this is where we need to prioritize what we're doing. If you are really fatigued, that's your body saying, help me. I'm doing too much, I can't cope here. You can look at some energizing herbs such as ginseng, such as maca. These can help to give you that little bit more of energy. The really important thing here is if your fatigue is taking over your life, if it's constant, if it's affecting everything that you do and feel, please just check with your doctor. Low iron, low thyroid function, low vitamin B and low B12 can all creep into the menopause and cause fatigue too. So get these things checked out by your doctor just to rule them out. If everything else is fine, then you know this is the point where you need to just get a little bit more relaxation. Me time. I keep saying it to everybody. We need to be selfish during the menopause in order to allow us to go through it. So that daily me time where you can relax, where you can do something that you really enjoy and get pleasure from, can give you an absolutely fantastic boost here. Vanessa's saying emotional feelings, overpowering, tears, feeling awful, scary. Yeah, we've done the fear. It's a really horrible one, being scared. Loud noises. Some women find that they can't cope with going into loud places. I know I started to hate going into pubs, which is probably no bad thing, just because the noise got overwhelming and you just wanted to sort of hide under the table. Tears is a big one. Oh my goodness, as they say. There's two sort of sides to the tears here. Some women find that they get over emotional at everything. So again, this is to do with the fact that we can't control our emotions as much. So we will start to cry at the slightest little thing. You know, women, again, they say they can't read newspapers, they can't watch the news, they can't watch a soppy film, they can't read any books where there's a sad ending, because they literally just sit and cry. This is all to do with, you know, the fact that our emotions are getting the better of us. We can't really do anything about this one. This is something that tends to happen. And I usually say, if you feel like crying, it's a way of releasing things in a way. You know, how often do we have a really good cry? So Obviously not in public, because people might wonder what's going wrong, but if you're at home, then, you know, maybe just say to your family, I need 30 minutes, go away and have a really good cry. The other thing that can happen, which is a little bit more frightening and disconcerting, is that you can suddenly find yourself crying. And I know for me it's something I will never ever forget, that feeling of just suddenly finding myself crying, sobbing uncontrollably and just feeling such desolation and sadness. I felt for a few minutes, I felt as if the whole world was going to end at that point. The weird thing was, it lasted a few minutes, it stopped, and suddenly everything was back to normal. And it's like, what on earth was going on here? So you can get these episodes as well. Don't overthink them. Again, it's emotions coming to the surface. Very often these ones are emotions that may have been long buried, and falling estrogen can also allow a lot of past emotional issues to come forward, and sometimes you then have to deal with these too. So if you find that you're in a situation where you've had traumatic issues in the past and suddenly you're beginning to relive them, this is where you probably need some help. Get some proper counselling. You can look at things like NLP and EFT. These are great therapies because you get taught how to be in control of your emotions. So these are great ones to learn to help you through the menopause when you get into situations where you start to feel that little bit out of control. So these are well worth checking out. And your situation here is a little bit complex. For anybody that I don't get through to, I don't get to answer your question, you can email me directly. So Anne, what I would like you to do is just email this question to me, give me a little bit more information, such as how old you are, what's going on, how long you were on the HRT, did you come off it really quickly? And I can then answer you a little bit more fully, and if I need any more questions, then I can get back to you, because this is one that I don't really want to just skip over just at the moment. Dana's saying, you're glad to catch me live. Hi Dana, that's lovely. She's been suffering with anxiety in the middle of the night. You're on HRT and you feel a little better, but you're not sure where it comes from. This is the whole anxiety. It is just the way your hormones are falling. Our emotional self becomes much more prominent. We start to worry about all sorts of things that on a day-to-day basis just, you know, it just wouldn't have an impact at all. Again, I know for me, I would wake up early in the morning and I would be panicking over what to wear. You know, how silly is that? You know, you look at it in broad daylight and you go, I went into a panic attack because I didn't know what I was putting on first thing in the morning. But these are real. When you're in them, they are so real, and they can be very, very distressing. Panicky, anxiety in the middle of the night. Remember your water, small glass of warm water before you go to bed, and remember that good snack before you go to bed. It needs to be protein, it needs to be a little bit of fat, so no sugary cereals, biscuits, cakes. That's not going to help at all, but your yogurts, your nuts, your seeds, an oat cake and cheese, something like that, about an hour before bed, can very often get rid of the anxiety attacks during the night. So doing that particular way. So San Powell is asking, do these feelings go away? If you've just joined, then yes, they tend to. These issues tend to be phases, not necessarily short ones. Some of them can last quite a while, but most women find that they go. I mean, I've lost the anxiety in the morning. I get up in the morning and I don't worry about what to wear, but at the time it was a real serious issue. So yes, if you can learn to support your nervous system, get things that a little bit back under control, then you'll find that very often it just completely disappears. Rashmi is saying she's gaining a lot of weight. Again, this is a really common one. What could be the reason? And she doesn't feel motivated to exercise. Oh boy, this is really common. The exercise and lack of motivation is a real stumbling block to controlling our weight in the menopause. Weight gain can be due to a number of things. If it's really quick weight gain, then please go and check with your doctor, because it could be thyroid, it could be iron, it could be other health issues. So get that checked out first. If we're not exercising, our metabolism slows down, we tend to eat more in the menopause. Our blood sugars go up and down, so you probably don't realise that you're snacking more than normal. So all of this combined means that we are more likely to put weight on. If we are fatigued, if we lose the motivation, then the thought of going down to the gym is just really horrible. In this situation, try and make yourself a little weekly plan, you know, trying to think, oh, I'm going to go down the gym every night for the next month. You'll fail at the first hurdle, but maybe say to yourself, right, this week I'm going to go on YouTube and look at a 15-minute gentle exercise session. YouTube is great. You can find just about everything that you're looking for. And I often go, I like to do my exercises in the morning, so I often go in the morning, find a bit of yoga or kettlebell or relaxation or something. 15 minutes, that's all that you need. The other thing to do is if you're out and about or you're at work and you get a decent lunch hour, is just to go for a 15-minute walk, and do it every day, and then just slowly try and go a little bit brisker, try and go a little bit further. So you're just pushing yourself very gently, but not enough to cause the fatigue to keep going on and on. Paulette is getting heart fluttering, palpitations that are benign. Good, get that checked out. Any of you out there that are getting these palpitations, they are horrible. I know the first time it happened to me, I honestly thought I was having a heart attack. Get these checked out just to make sure that there's nothing else going on. That's very, very important, but just get it there. She's health anxiety for herself and anyone that I love. Yeah, absolutely. The fear factor, you start to build up these stories, these scenarios about the worst thing that can happen to everybody that you care about. And the thing is, they get stuck in your head. It's like a record that's stuck. It goes round and round. You find you're thinking the same thing every single day, and that really pulls you down. So again, talk to your loved ones about it. Say how you're feeling, and sometimes just voicing it will ease that. It will take that away. You've got the flower essences again. Relaxation essence is a nice one for this because it just helps to calm you down that little bit. So that can be a great help. Palpitations can be caused by lots of different things. So once you've got everything cleared, palpitations can be caused by dehydration. Remember, loads of water. Take the magnesium. Magnesium's lovely for the heart. Your heart loves plenty of magnesium. Also make sure that you're keeping your blood sugar stable, so eat little and often. Caffeine, because I found out my first set of palpitations, when I looked back and thought about it, it was because I'd had a very, very strong cup of coffee, and about an hour later when I was driving home, oh my goodness, it actually put me into a bit of a panic. So when you get the palpitations, look at what's going on in your life. What has happened in the last hour? Have you not eaten? And interestingly enough, watch over the holiday season, because we are going to be drinking more alcohol, we are going to be eating a lot more sugary foods, a lot more fat foods, and these can cause palpitations. So you might find, just a little warning, that if you overindulge too much over the Christmas and New Year, that your symptoms will get worse, or these palpitations and flushes can start to appear. And a lot of it is due just to the fact that our bodies are not used to having all this extra bad stuff, if you like. So just sort of be aware of that one. Deborah's asking, if she takes HRT, can you continue to take supplements? This is a really good idea. There is a debate always ongoing. Are supplements worth it? You should be able to get everything you need from your diet. Problem is, going through the menopause, we often don't eat as well as we should. We might not have the time, we might not have the motivation to cook and eat well. So sometimes taking a good quality supplement can just help to give us that little bit extra. And regardless if you're on HRT or not, I would definitely recommend the B fits and the magnesium. For a good vitamin and mineral supplement, pop down to your local health food shop. They will be able to give you lots of advice on the best remedy that you need for your particular situation. And sometimes that's all you need, just to give yourself a little bit of a pep up. Patsy's saying she's the opposite. Her weight has fallen off and it's coincided with taking blood pressure medication to get her blood pressure to a safe level. Blood pressure is a big issue in the menopause, and this is one that tends to come on. It's called the silent killer, although that's a bit of a panicky title. But very often we don't know that we've got high blood pressure. So I would recommend that when you're going through the menopause, is maybe once every 6 months, pop into your local pharmacy and just ask if you can get your blood pressure checked. Don't panic about this. Don't start measuring your blood pressure every week, because that will make it go up. But just maybe a twice yearly checkup for your blood pressure is a really good idea. If your weight has fallen off and it's purely due to the medication, you might find that just adding a few extra healthy fats into your daily diet can make that little bit of a difference. This is something I will be putting out a weekly video, I think in January or early February, all about why fats are really important in the menopause. So this is one to look out for. We tend to see, if we're putting weight on in the menopause, one of the things that a lot of women do is they start going on a low-fat diet, and that's possibly the worst thing that you can do, because it can cause a whole raft of problems. Healthy fats are great for the menopause and can make quite a lot of difference as well. How much magnesium? This is a really good question, Patsy. Start off on a low dose. We have what's called a bowel tolerance to magnesium. If you suddenly start taking lots of magnesium, you can end up with diarrhea. And obviously that is not something you want. So if you're starting off taking a magnesium supplement and you've not done it before, then start off on 100 or 200 milligrams a day. Try that for a couple of weeks and see how you get on. If your digestion is fine, if you find that your symptoms have eased off, then that's all that you need to take. If you find that they're better, but you think, oh, maybe just a little bit more, or if you find your symptoms are still going, try and increase it, but do the increases slowly so that your body gets used to it. For those of you that get constipated, we do get some women who find that taking a magnesium supplement can help to ease constipation. So that's a nice thing to try, rather than filling yourself full of laxatives, which can sometimes cause a lot of problems as well. Annie is taking an adrenal supplement. Can you add in maca or black cohosh as well? And which one for emotional distress? If you're already taking an adrenal supplement, I wouldn't take anything else. If this is helping you enough, then don't add anything else in. Black cohosh as a plant estrogen, that would be absolutely fine, because that's working on other symptoms as well. The one for emotional distress, we've got mood essence, we've got the female essence. The essences are great. For those of you that are interested in that side of thing, looking at the essences individually, it gives you a list of the negative aspects, and then it tells you all of the positive benefits that particular essence can give. So if you're in a lot of emotional distress in the menopause, about maybe seeing who you are, am I still worthy, am I still worthy being a woman, what's happening now, then you could look at the female essence. But a lot of the essences will work well for general symptoms as well. So please don't go out and buy them all, because you don't need them. Just try one single one at a time, and you will get benefit from them regardless of which one that you've got. Joanna's saying that she's got tingling in her fingers, not every day but most days, and it sometimes starts at her elbows and works her way down. First thing, get this tingling checked out by your doctor. Low B12 can cause tingling, and especially if you start to get little shocks, almost like little electric shocks. Please get this checked out as well. Tingling otherwise, it can be due to things like low magnesium, it can be due to dehydration. If you are sitting at a desk and you're on your elbows a lot, like I do, It might be to do with that. So if you're getting the tingling at roughly the same time of day in the same situation, then it's probably more to do with either the environment that you're in or the fact that you're a little bit dehydrated as well. Dehydration will affect joint function. So if your joints are starting to seize up, that might affect the nerves too. So this is a good one for just doing a little bit of detective work as to when this is happening, where it's happening, and you might be able to then sort this particular one. Deborah says she's waking every morning around the same time, but not always 100%. She's often getting a hot flush, especially if you're waking early. This again, very often this is due to your nervous system coming in. Your nervous system can get wound up, you know, like an old-fashioned watch. The spring, if you wind it up and wind it up, it gets to the point where it just goes bing. That's your nervous system during the night. It will just suddenly ping, you'll get a big rush of adrenaline, and that will wake you up, and very often that will trigger a hot flush. If you are waking up between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., that's your liver time. So what's happening here is your liver is just being extra stressed during the menopause. This is a really common thing that happens, and your liver, it's between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. is your liver's working day. It's when your liver's at its most active, and that energy activity can be enough to wake you up if your liver's that little bit overloaded. So taking something like our milk thistle complex for a month or two can often help. Watch your last meal of the day. Are you eating a really heavy meal late at night? Because that will stress the liver even further. So check back again at what you were doing in the evening. If you're drinking alcohol, and I know that if I drink too much, I will wake up quite suddenly between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. and no matter what I do, I will not be able to get back to sleep until about 3:30. At that point, my liver's going, that's me, I'm done. And you can get back to sleep. So, you know, just give your liver a little bit of TLC as well. It can make a huge difference too. Antoinette is asking, digestion has changed in the last year. She can't eat the same things and she can't eat past 6 o'clock. Will her digestion go back to normal when she's finished with the menopause? This is a difficult one because it depends what you're doing now. We do know that falling estrogen affects the mucous membranes all over the body. It will start to dry them out a little bit. It will start to make them less flexible and less efficient. So one of the things that tends to be affected a lot is our digestive tract. You will find, very often you'll find that you'd start to get indigestion. You won't be able to tolerate the same foods. You can very often start to produce less stomach acid. So things will start to ferment. You will get a lot of indigestion, a lot of maybe gastric reflux, a lot of pain. Sometimes you might find that you actually get a bit of a shooting pain up this side as well. You might find that things just sit in your stomach for so long you get really, really uncomfortable. This is usually a sign of low acidity. We have a super herb called Centurium, which is a stomach balancer. So this is known to help with both high acidity and low acidity, and it can make your digestion a lot more comfortable. Other digestive problems means the transit time. You get a sluggish bowel. You might find that you don't empty your bowels the same. You might only go once every 2 days. You might start getting constipation. You start to get a lot of bloating. You just feel so utterly uncomfortable. If that's the case, we have a lovely remedy called yarrow, which eases a lot of discomfort. The only important thing I would say here, if you're getting a lot of bloating, if it's happening all the time, if you're in a lot of discomfort, please double check with your doctor. If you've had this for more than a couple of weeks, this does need checking out just to make sure that there is nothing going on. One of the things that can happen as you go through the menopause is your internal organs in the pelvic area can shift. It's called a prolapse, and this can cause a lot of discomfort. So just get this checked out beforehand. Yes, you know, go easy. You will learn what food you can't eat. Just make sure you still get a really good varied diet, maybe eating more of the things that your digestive system is comfortable with. You might find this is one of those phases. The other thing is just remember plenty of water. Dehydration will affect your digestive system as well. Just don't drink when you eat, because that will dilute everything and that can make your indigestion worse. Okay, we've had a lot of the emotional issues. For those of you that have recently joined, if I haven't mentioned what you have been experienced, or you're still a little bit confused, you can email me directly. That's not a problem at all, and I will get back to you. You can check our new playlist, which is all about the emotional issues. It's all the videos I've done over the last 3 years on emotional issues. If you're looking for other physical symptoms, then you can look at our A.Vogel Talks Menopause playlist as well. I'll just run through these ones and then I think we will call it a day. So Gina is saying that she's got IBS, she watches her diet, which is really good, and it's more sensitive. Again, yes, you know, if you already have digestive problems and you start going through the menopause, they can become much more stubborn just because the makeup of our digestive tract is changing. So look at the Centurium, look at our Yarrow complex. Sometimes a really good probiotic can make all the difference here. Your friendly bacteria play a really important part in the menopause, and it's worth taking trouble to keep them very well supported. Just remember the water as well, because that's something we tend to forget. Our digestive tract is like a huge processing plant, and it needs plenty of water in order to function well at all. Jenny is saying she's getting headaches when she's hungry, even if she just needs a snack. She's had everything checked out by the doctor. Well done for that. Regular headaches, get these checked out. Don't rely on painkillers, please. They can cause rebound headaches and you can get into a very bad habit with that. Could it be the hormones? Absolutely. Falling estrogen will affect the way your body absorbs magnesium. Low magnesium will cause headaches. So look at a good magnesium supplement to start off with. Dehydration, this is a huge issue for just about everybody in the menopause. Dehydration will cause headaches as well. And the low blood sugars, this is a classic, you know, this is one that, not so much the headaches. If I get low blood sugars, I just get so terribly and utterly irritable and unmanageable. So this is one where you need to maybe look at the snacks that you're eating, maybe go for more protein and fat-based snacks. Again, there's a video coming out in the new year all about healthy snacks and the more sustaining snacks. I've also done previously a little video blog on my favourite 5 snacks, so maybe have a look at that and get some good ideas. Snacks can be really healthy, they can be great, and you don't need to worry about calorie-wise, because a lot of the snacks that I recommend are under 100 calories, but will pack a powerful punch at helping to keep things like headaches at bay. Last question, ladies, this is from Sue. She says she's getting lots of cramps in her feet and leg when she's in her bed. This is the magnesium. Low magnesium will give you leg cramps. So a couple of things you can do here. Nice magnesium supplement, build yourself up during the day. Make sure you're getting plenty of water, because dehydration can be an issue. You can also get magnesium skin spray. So for leg cramps at night, this is quite a handy one. You can just spray your legs before you go to bed. There's another little supplement that is fantastic for working on leg cramps really quickly. These are called tissue salts, and this is a tissue salt that's called Mag-Phos. It's little tablets, you just put them on the tongue. These are great because you can have them by the bedside. If you wake up in the middle of the night with leg cramps, you can just put a few on the tongue, and very often that will hit the spot. So, wow, I'm now out of breath. Thank you, ladies, so much for all your fabulous questions. If you've just recently joined and you like the live chat, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for future chats. I'm on there every week with my regular videos, and every now and again for a live chat. We've got my new playlist on all the emotional issues, and also the playlist on all the physical symptoms as well. For those of you that I didn't get round to, I'm sorry about that, you know, time's run out. You are more than welcome to email me. My email address is up, and I will get back to you. Obviously it's the holiday season, so if you don't hear, don't think I've ignored you. It's just the fact that I'm going to be going on holiday as well. So thank you so much, everybody, and I will look forward to our next live A.Vogel Talks Menopause. Bye.